Okay, great. Thank you. So welcome everyone. It's very nice to see you. I enjoyed reading your bios just a couple of minutes before the call started. So we have Jai, we have Nandita, and then we have Rachel. Very nice to meet you. My name is Michelle Perchuk. I think you know a little bit about me and my background and being an NYU alumni. Can everyone hear me well? Okay. Yes? Okay. I'm very active with the school. I feel that NYU was really a very big part of my journey of becoming a professional in New York City. I'm a New York City almost born and bred. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, but I came here as a child. And I've lived in New York my whole life. And NYU was a very big part of my career journey. So I was a communication major, concentrating on public relations. And I feel that what I do today and what I've done ever since I graduated school, those skills really helped me achieve heights in my industry. So most of my career I spent in technology recruiting and executive search. I had my career was a combination of working for corporate as well as I had my own firm for almost 10 years in New York. And my specialty was placing technical talent into financial organizations in New York City. So doing that, it was very transactional and I got to learn really a humongous amount of information. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at my old photos because I was looking to post some stuff on Instagram. And I found a picture like 7 years ago when I was invited to the floor of New York Stock Exchange because they were actually one of my largest clients. By the way, if you want quick tips for career and resumes and stuff like that, I post a lot on Instagram. So if you just find me under Michelle Perchuk, you'll get daily tips that will be very instrumental for your career searches and so forth. So being in technology recruiting really catapulted me into talent development and talent acquisition and really learning the combination of art and science of how large corporations hire talent. I used to work with CIOs, CEOs, staffing their largest initiatives. I worked with HR executives in really understanding how large companies hire and what are they looking for. Not only are they looking for a brand name school on a resume, but they actually are looking for certain things once you get there. And, it could never be explained why certain people get jobs in, companies of their dreams and why certain people don't. So I decided to dedicate my career from 2017 on to career coaching and career progression, because the movement in your career is actually going to stay through your entire life once you leave academia. And you really need to plan out every step, not meticulously on a daily basis, but you really need to always be 6 months ahead. You need to figure out if certain positions you'll take in your life will be stepping stones and where will those positions get you in the long run. People who are successful in their careers, they do that. They hire experts that help them, or they follow influencers in this field that help them kind of open up their minds to the fact that you need to, once you're clear on your career path, and I know some of you are, once you're clear, you literally need to sit down and build a plan. Like, here are the top 30 companies I want to work for. Who do I know there? Who's in my network? Who in my social circle can get me a step closer to where I want to go? What do I do? How do I get in front of these companies? At the same time, what are the mission statements of these companies? How do my core values correlate with the mission statements of these companies? Why should they hire me? All these questions should be going through your mind. That's if you're clear on your career journey. But if you're unclear regarding your career, and I am going to open this up, this is going to be an interactive conversation, one by one, you'll have an opportunity. I know you have a lot of questions, but if you're unclear about your career path, what gets you going? What do you believe in? I recommend, and I work with many, students and young professionals who are unclear in their career path. I recommend for people to go through immersion exercises. So if you think that you want to be a diplomat, immerse yourself into that world for 2 weeks. Talk to anyone that works in that humanitarian global UN world. Connect with people on LinkedIn, read articles, read books, watch documentaries, follow people's careers in who you admire in that field for 2 weeks. Eat, breathe, and drink that profession. And if you love it, you continue with it. And if you don't, you put it aside and you go to the next one. Only when you can't just figure out what you want to be. You need to be a multifaceted individual, and you need to talk to people who are doing this out there in the world today. You need to really enrich your passion by understanding what these professionals felt when they were just college students graduating, and what made them reach their decisions. Only through those kinds of experiences will you be able to truly figure out what you want to do. And at the same time, you could also get yourself a mentor. One of the mistakes that I made when I graduated NYU is I did not identify 1 or 2 mentors who would have been integral part of my life as I was developing as a professional. I graduated NYU and I really forgot about the school for quite a few years. And I felt that really damaged me. It took me longer in figuring things out. I didn't have a support structure. So I really urge you to, once you leave the school, get involved with the alumni organizations. If you're still currently students, there are many tools the school gives you. There's Violet Network. You could reach out to anyone within the ecosystem of NYU, introduce yourself, and ask to speak to that person. And the reason why Violet Network exists is because the school believes in the exclusivity of you being connected to every single alumni, and for you to gain that knowledge from their experiences. So I could talk about that. I could talk about my mistakes for 3 hours, but I don't think you're here to hear about me. I know you have questions, and I know based on the questions that you have, it's going to open up a further discussion. So let's just go around the room. Luckily, it's only 3 of you. You do have my email. If you have any particular or individual questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. And I am also offering 30-minute complimentary discovery career clarity sessions to everyone that attended today. So without further ado, let's go around the room and kind of ask questions. Jai, since you're the only gentleman in the room, let's start with you.
Sure. Yes. Hello, everyone. So my name is Jay Oberoi, and I'm a sophomore in NYU, majoring in business and technology management. And just right as you can see from my name of my major, so it's basically comprised of business courses and technology courses. So today why I'm here is because I'm actually interested in both the fields, but unfortunately I cannot do both as a professional.
Yes.
So my query is that whether I should pursue more into business line, be like a business analyst and start, or as a tech analyst in general.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is your passion? And then I'm going to tell you where the opportunities lie. So what is your love? What is your passion? If I woke you up 3 o'clock in the morning, would you analyze revenue or would you code?
That's a good question. So if I wake up at 3 in the morning, I don't think the stock exchange will be open at 3 in the
No, no,
morning.
no, no,
So,
no, no, no. That's not the question. What do you love to do? If I woke you up in the morning, I'm like, come on, let's go do this. Would you rather
yeah,
code or analyze revenue to see how a business is doing?
I'll prepare for analyzing revenue for sure. So yeah, but still, the thing is that I can still study about analyzing revenue even if I code by doing a finance, what do you call it, engineering and stuff. So I can still basically make the code to analyze revenue. So
Can
this
you
is where
minor? Can you minor in technology?
no, I can. Already checked that out. So during some requisite errors and issues, I cannot. But I'm
Okay,
already minoring in mathematics.
okay. So I'm gonna tell you, your combination is very rare. I'm gonna tell you why. Many business people just want to go in the business, stay in the business realm. The techies want to stay in the technology realm. But why certain organizations are challenged is because the business people don't know how to speak to the technology people. So it seems like you're very tech savvy. You'll pick up the technology no matter what. But it's the business, it's the analysis that is extremely valuable in today's in today's economy. So if you have an interest in technology, you will actually, if you join an organization as a business professional, you will have empathy for the techies. Usually the business people, they have no empathy for the technology. So this is a
I see your
skill.
point.
This is a skill that you could really develop. You know, working for years with giants like Bank of America, AIG, the business people are always yelling at the tech people. And the tech people never have the patience to gather the requirements from the business people. And even when they do, since the tech people don't understand business, the requirements they gather, it's like they don't even know what it really means. So since you will go in as a business person, you will be able to speak to technology in the language that they understand and have empathy for them. And that's why you will be successful.
Yes. So yeah, it kind of makes sense now, but since I think because this is the first time I'm speaking to you, maybe, but it's just yeah, for the past I think about 3-4 months. So I'm a sophomore right now, so going to be junior next semester. So you know, like how it goes in juniors, you got to start thinking about internships and so like summer internship and stuff. So
So
all I
you
was
can
thinking was, where
contact
should
me.
I
You
practice?
could contact me and we could actually go over your story, because
Okay.
an internship you're going to get is not going to be based on your resume or the fact that you're an NYU student. You're going to get it based on your story. And we just came up with your story. You're fascinated by business, but you have empathy for technology. If you read about all the great tech companies today, all the leaders of tech companies, and I suggest you start reading some biographies of some of your favorites. They're business people, but they listen to the techie in the back of the room, because that techie in the back of the room is going to tell them if there's a bug in the code. And if there's a bug in the code, it's their company is not going to work. And the users are not going to be happy. And the customers are not going to be happy. So if you Google empathy in leaders of technology companies, you will find a wealth of information that is going to be priceless for you. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I get your point.
Great.
Great.
And you have my email. Any question you have, feel free.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch with you for sure. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Rachel, how are you this evening?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
So you're a senior, and tell me what's on your mind today.
Well, as a senior in like humanities, and the major is called global liberal studies, and I'm concentrating art, text, and media, I think it's just really overwhelming to find anything that I want to do, or even, I guess, like even in normal times it would have been difficult for me, but now it's even more challenging. I feel like every time I go on like Handshake or anything, a lot of the things have to do with like media, journalism, or something along those lines. And I just find myself like not interested in things that are like mainstream. So I just, yeah, so like these like marketing or anything like that, I'm just not very interested. But I also know that I don't really want to be picky, but I also don't want my employers to like not be happy with someone who's just yeah.
Okay. So I sense that you are very unclear about what job you want to do. So you need assistance in gaining career clarity, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I developed a very interesting guide that I offer to many of the college grads that I work with. It's called the Ultimate Guide to Career Clarity. And if you contact me, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. It's a very interesting guide. So it actually uses your, it uses how you envision yourself, and it gives you a framework that you could apply to your everyday life. So I'll just give you an example. The framework is called PLAN, PLAAN. Each one of those letters stands for something. I'm not going to give it away, but it's almost like a mantra that you use every day. So the N stands for networking. Every single day when you wake up, you need to think of a person that you can speak to that can get you closer to either your dream job or to gaining career clarity. For you, if you're not sure, I would just start asking myself questions. What are your core values? What do you feel passionate about? What do you love to do? What do you love to do?
Like I like reading, writing, just I guess I'm just looking at all things artsy and all the time. I really like kind of gaining knowledge of wide varieties of those things in the field, and travel is a big part. I also like traveled a lot when I was growing up, so
Okay.
yeah.
You see yourself involved in some kind of a travel industry?
I don't know. I think a lot of the people that I admire tend to be like people who are really well educated and turned out to be like really influential writers, either like nonfiction or fiction.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I know writing is difficult to break into.
Life is difficult.
Yeah.
Nothing is easy. And if it's easy, it's too good to be true. This is, I'm telling you this because I tell this to my kids. If it is easy, it's too good to be true. So probably something along the lines of a immersion project would work for you, and identifying, 3 or 4 people that you really admire, and then backtrack, see where they started and how they emerged in their career. Now, if these are very famous people, they may not be willing to speak with you, but see if you could replicate their background and find somebody in Violet Network and just connect with them on LinkedIn. By the way, are you all on LinkedIn? Good. So you could connect with them either through Violet Network, or you can connect with them on LinkedIn, and just be authentic. Everyone knows you're a student. Don't try to hide that you're like a PhD. Say, look, I'm trying to gain career clarity. I'm part of the same environment as you are. I'm an NYU student. Would you be willing to spend 15 minutes talking to me? I really admire your career. I'm very impressed with what you've been able to accomplish. Seasoned professionals, they love to mentor people, but they will never come to anybody and say, hey, I'm great, I want to be your mentor. They wait for young people to reach out to them. It's like a famous surgeon. He doesn't walk around and says to people like in Starbucks, oh, I'm a great surgeon, you want me to operate on you? They wait until people get referred to them. All right. So the immersion project is something that I would try if I were you, with, 4 or 5 different profiles of people, like an influencer or famous author or famous journalist, either a journalist that works for some kind of a news, or a journalist that works something that's art related. Just take your time and like see what gets you excited, and then follow those people and see how did they become who they became. Okay. If you have any questions about identifying profiles and mapping your own career to these people, reach out to me. We could have a discussion that's more targeted to you. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, Nandita.
Hi.
Hi.
I yeah, um I'm a junior at NYU studying integrated digital media, and I'm trying to double major in journalism and maybe minor in computer science.
Okay.
So
Do you have a
yeah,
question?
I guess like I struggle with reaching out to people, but I also kind of struggle with figuring out exactly what I want to do, because I kind of like Jay, I'm kind of like in between like journalism and technology. So
Okay.
yeah, thanks for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. I love it. I love to form minds. So one thing that comes to mind for me, where journalism and technology kind of come together in a fascinating way, is social media. And that industry is exploding. People that help build brands, from Fortune 500 to, smaller entities. Like, for example, if you check out my Instagram, everyone has an Instagram account. If you check out my Instagram account, I have people that help me with that. I'm a small business. I run a small coaching practice called MTV Coaching. And I have people helping me with my social media, because I put out a lot of free content to help people across all professions, across all industries. Not everyone, we assume that people have college education. We assume people are tech savvy, but many people are really not. And many people don't know how to put a resume together, or they don't know what questions to ask at an interview. So as part of the humanitarian in me, because that's what I learned when I was NYU, you have to share your expertise. I share a lot of free content. And I don't have time to do that myself. I have a team of 3 social media people that work with me. They also are they're owned by a lady that I admire. So they work with solo entrepreneurs, and they help me send my message across. They pitch me to publications. They pitch me for people I could collaborate with in the podcast world. And they actually connected me with people who are going to help me build my first e-course. So that's an exciting field that you could also do an immersion project, just like I was telling Rachel. Just start checking out people that you admire in that space.
I think my issue is that there's just so many avenues that I'm interested in. And like part of me is interested in like the emergence of data journalism and more of the data science aspects. And then another part of me is really interested in documentary film. And it feels like there's just so much.
I'm going to give you an analogy. Like when you take that course and you realize that you need to read 5 books for the course, and each book is 600 pages, and you're overwhelmed, right? what is the first thing you do? You put together almost like a project, a timeline of how much you need to do every day to get there. Picking a career is very overwhelming. Okay. But if you take one step at a time and do a lot of elimination, it will become easier. When you're looking at the world right now and all these jobs at all these job fairs, it's too much. Just take it piece by piece. Build the essay paragraph by paragraph. And once you know that that paragraph doesn't work, scratch it. On to the next one. It's all about experimenting and making sure that that particular job is something that you would like to do. And if there's something, if it seems like it doesn't feel right, where there's smoke, there's fire. Just toss it on to the next one. But, you know, don't toss it just because. Do a little bit of digging, scratch beneath the surface, like really understand what is the day-to-day of this person. Like, for example, many professions are out there in the field. You really have to be very disciplined to do your writing at home or in the office when you need to do it. But usually you're out there in the field every day. Is that a work and life balance that you would enjoy? Or you're the person that's the introvert that likes to work at your own pace at your home office and you don't really need to meet with people?
I think I like having some interaction with people, just in the sense that I like a part of why I like journalism is I enjoy actually interviewing people. I enjoy learning, and I enjoy like going out and not just staying, like being stuck in like one place. But then the part of me that's really into like the art and the technology is like the part of me that likes to be super analytical and more like detail oriented. That makes sense.
Well, the more you're telling me, it sounds like you would really enjoy like keyword and SEO. Now that is a field that is exploding, and journalists need to figure out how to embed certain words into the text that they create in order to drive traffic. Now that's a profession in its own.
But which major is better for that?
You could apply everything that you're studying. You know, you don't need to have a particular major. It's like architect, you become an architect. You're an architecture major, you become an architect. Those days are gone. Unless you're a licensed professional. Like if you're a pharmacist, you become a pharmacist. Your education, especially at NYU, is very broad. And there's a reason for it, because they're trying to introduce you to as much as possible. And even when you become a young professional upon graduating, you should still experiment. But in order to avoid making mistakes and avoid pitfalls, you talk to other professionals that have done it, who are 10 years ahead of you, and ask them these questions. Now, look, this industry did not exist for journalists who are 10 years ahead of you. They had to unlearn what they learned and relearn everything that has to do with our world of journalism today. But if you start talking to people in that realm, your mind will open. You will start making these connections, almost, you know, neural connections, how what you know and what you enjoy doing can actually map into a certain job.
Okay, I see. Because I think right now it was, for me, like, just, I'm sorry, quickly, like, it was just a lot of pressure because my parents wanted me to go into computer science, and I had to push really, really, really hard to even like be able to go more into journalism.
Okay.
But I feel like I don't want to regret this decision. So I'm just like having all of those like thoughts that probably aren't helping.
Listen, you know, I started NYU as a PT major because I got pressured by my parents. And I did not graduate being a physical therapist. I actually realized I have no interest in that field. So I understand that your parents want you to have a good life and for you to have a profession, because they probably have friends whose kids are in technology and they're making a lot of money. But in today's world, if you graduate with what will you graduate? Bachelor of Arts?
Bachelor of Science in Integrated Digital Media and a double major in journalism.
Okay. You could still, if you decide that you want to turn on the tech aspect of your career, you can go and get a couple of certifications. But do that already when you're in a job and you're immersed. Like working for a company like Disney, you could only imagine how many opportunities. Just get into a company that has the same mission statement as your core values. Like, don't get into, Philip Morris if you're against smoking. Or if you're against oil spills, don't go work for British Petroleum, Like, do your homework. Read about companies on Glassdoor. See what people are saying. Talk to the alumni. Guys, this is an incredible value that you can get by being part of this amazing school and this amazing environment. Just talk to people. If you talk to one person a day, you will have 365 pieces of information that you don't have today.
I was also wondering, if I may ask, you were telling Jay to go more into the business aspects, and then that would help him like talk to tech people. But couldn't it work the other way around too? Or was there like a reasoning behind not going into tech first and then?
Look, everything is possible, but I just want to underline my tech recruiting background. I'm yet to see technology stand up to business. Businesses run based on stock price, and that's why the business people will always have the most seats at the conference table. That's just the way it is. Now, the new leaders of companies, I also urge you to read about the new breed of a leader. It's no longer like Jack Welch. I don't know if you know, he's the guy that reinvented Ford. No, not, is it Ford, General Motors? It's more Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. And there's one guy left standing, and that's Warren Buffett. But he's the only guy from this generation that actually got it. Leaders today, people that run companies, need to have a strong amount of emotional intelligence and empathy. Read about that. There's an amazing article by Harvard Review called "What Makes a Leader." This article will blow your mind. They wrote it in that article was published in the 90s. If you contact me, I'll send it to you if you have a trouble looking for it.
Thanks.
So to further answer your question, I'm yet to see the tech people stand up to the business people. And in companies that I worked for, most of the time the business people are bullies. And that's why there's always a war between business and technology. But in companies that are soaring now, Salesforce, I Zoom, all these tech companies, they're doing well because the business people have empathy. They're collaborating with technology, and they're working as one. So for you, if your passion is digital and media, I mean, that's, to me, that's the digital advertising space. There's so much going on, so much innovation in that world. And everything that is written today is not written for the value of the word. It's written for the value of the keyword search. Don't take my word for it. talk to people who are doing these jobs and take little bits at a time. Take 3 jobs that you think that you would love. Go on job boards, read what these jobs require. Go on LinkedIn, see what people who you admire, what they do, what their titles are, and how did they get there. If you look at Tim Cook, I'm sure that right off the top of your head, you know that he was a technology guy. He was an electrical engineering major. Look at leaders of companies and study how they got where they got. Okay. All right, let's go. We have 15 more minutes. Let's go more around the room, see if you have any follow-up questions. Jai?
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you just said about the comparison of tech and business. So I just want to clarify just to make sure that I understood what you just said. So you're saying that basically all these leaders, all these CEOs of such big multinational conglomerates, they all, except Warren Buffett, I mean, all of them, the new, like the Salesforce, Zoom, all these new companies, even though they are like tech companies, their CEOs all have, let's say 90% of the time, they have a business background. The other ones, except if they are like the co-founders or founders of the company, they are, all the CEOs are like the business backgrounds, right? So basically they are the ones who are running the company, even if it's tech. That's
No.
what you meant, right?
No, that's not what I mean. The new breed of leader of any company. First of all, every company today is a tech company. You understand what I mean? Every company today, if they have not embraced technology and how it's going to help them grow, they're going to be out. They're going to be obsolete. They're the dinosaur. So in my book, every company is a technology company. And then you have industries. The old school leaders were really not interested in technology. They knew technology was a cost center. A new leader started emerging who started embracing technology and the power and harness that energy to get them ahead. It is that one type of leader that decided to be different. It was that business person that listened to the programmer in the back of the room. That's why I felt that your background and your passion is very interesting, because not many business people naturally have a tendency to love technology. But you're ahead of the game. Business people today, if they do not have empathy and an interest in technology, they're finished. And as the old type of executive is being phased out, you're right there. Does that make sense? If you need to talk more about it, it's a very, you're getting a perspective of a person that was a technology recruiter. And my database analysts were afraid to speak up in a meeting, where in fact, if the database crashed, the company would go down across everything: pharma, consumer, auto. The database people are the most important people in the room, but they never speak up. But you, being a business person, are going to say, database people, what do you have to say?
I actually have a question.
Yes.
So I was reading your bio, the one that I got an email about. So you said that you work with Fortune 1000 companies, a lot of them.
Yes.
So I just have a questions based on the job market and on the business side. So what do you think the employers are looking for? Like you said, they're not looking for the title. They're not looking for what is in your resume. They're looking for something else.
Yes.
I just want your opinion on what should we show, or what do they require that they want as a job so that we can, have a better chance of getting the job.
So thank God you're in a school with an amazing reputation. So that's already half of the battle. The other thing that you have to start thinking about is you need to show the skills on your resume that are not tangible. And I did a whole, over this period of COVID, I actually identified 6 skills that everybody looks for, but no candidate puts on their resume. And write these down. It's very easy to remember. 3 C's, 2 T's, and 1 L. The 3 C's stand for collaboration, communication, creativity. The 2 T's are tech savvy, technology, and teamwork. And the L stands for leadership. These words, Nandita, you will appreciate this, need to be almost like keyword searches embedded in your resume, showing a potential employer how you have collaborated in your academic career, or if you've had any summer jobs or, simultaneously jobs. Because if you go and you look at Fortune 500 companies and what they're looking for in entry-level professionals, collaboration, I'm willing to bet money on it, is in that job description. But guess what? The people who are submitting their resumes, very few of them are putting in this word. So here's the reality. When your resume goes into an organization, there's an ATS system, applicant tracking system, that accepts your resume. If you have any kind of fancy calligraphy on your resume, your photo, the ATS will spit it out. It will not transcribe it into their, the ATS will not transcribe it into their database. So it will just be hanging out there someplace and no one will ever see it. So make sure your resume, and this is where my Instagram will come in handy. I give out a lot of information like this. Like I just did a post a couple of days ago, an ATS friendly resume. It has to be plain. It has to be easily crystal clear, has to have a summary, an objective, your experience, your grade point average, your school, like just this, the signature blocks. And weaved in these 6 skills that I'm telling you about. So your summary can go something like this. Being a student at NYU, I realized that I excel in leadership. And how do I know this? It's because every club that I joined, I always gravitated towards being the main organizer because I have excellent communication skills and I'm an excellent collaborator. So many companies, they actually look for certain keywords to be picked up in a resume. And if it's not there, it's not getting to the next step. Like it'll go in through a portal. Recruiter is going to look at it only if certain things show up.
Yeah, that makes sense. So about that I'm sorry, what did you say? TSA? What was that system?
ATS, applicant tracking.
ATS. So ATS, so is that basically every Fortune 500 companies use that, or?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the devil, but it's the devil we have to live with.
So is there like a specific format of the resume that they accept, or
Yes.
any format is fine?
Any format is fine. Make sure it's a Word document. And it has to have no fancy characters. It needs to be in a traditional font. No fancy bullet points or anything like that. Just a very simple, I'm sure Career Services has shown you examples of resumes. But listen, if you have a creator resume, that's fine. You could send it. But if you're sending it to a person, if you're sending it into a portal, it will not transcribe. Something else that I recommend you do, invest the time in writing your cover letter and embed those 6 powerful words that I just told you into your cover letter. And every time whenever you submit your resume, it says any other documents, attach the cover letter. And then also consider, I mean, this could be like a long shot for you guys, but I think that you're willing to try anything. Put together a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Just like a little mini presentation of what you intend to do if Amazon hires you. What are you going to do in the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days? And that plan could go something like this. I intend to meet with 4 of my teammates and really understand the culture of the department that I'm going to be working in. No one is doing this. So guess what? You will be the only candidate that not only has a cover letter, but they also have a mini business plan. And whatever HR person is looking at it, they're going to be like, oh my God, who is this person? They already know what they're going to do for us. We have to talk to them. Because 1,000 people are sending their resume for one position. You will be one of the 1,000 that will have that extra document. And it works because my clients are doing it and they're getting jobs.
I have another question. So how much so I heard a lot of stories about the GPA and stuff, and how much it really affects your chances of getting the job. How
GPA,
true is it that GPA, yeah, grade point average in college, like how much does it really affect your job chances?
listen, you're already halfway there. You're coming from a school that has an incredible reputation. If you're above 3, you're fine. You could have a 4.0 and you cannot introduce yourself. There is a in the recruiting world, there are two banks: hard skills and soft skills. You could be a brilliant nuclear physicist and you could not communicate your ideas clearly. And if you have to go do a presentation, you break into a cold sweat. So an organization would rather take somebody that's a 3.5 that has actually interpersonal skills. 4.0 means that you had no life, you studied 24/7, you memorized everything, and you got a good test, you got a good grade on your test. It shows you have hard skills. It doesn't measure that you have soft skills. Soft skills are measured through application, through when people see you in action. I'm talking about from an employer's perspective. So very often, there's a very famous, obviously in technology, we have a humongous South Asian population who are excellent in technology. And there's one school in India, I don't remember the name of it, that's equivalent of MIT and even bigger.
IIT.
What is it called? ITT?
IIT, Indian Institute of Technology. So I'm from India too, so I know. Okay.
So I have seen people, I mean, you're going to laugh right now. This was a long time ago, but I had a guy from that school show up for an interview in a tuxedo. The guy thought he needed a business suit, and he did not know the difference between a business suit and a tuxedo. He knew he needed a suit. He had no common sense, and he had 4.0 average from a world-renowned school. First of all, that's a red flag. A, he never spoke to anybody, then went to an interview. Second, he never did the research that you wear a tux to a prom, a funeral, or a wedding. You don't wear it to an interview. He never did the research. I mean, if he would show up to that interview, he would not get the job. And that's why I used to have ties in my desk. If I ever anything like that ever happened, I would take the bow tie and put a tie. I mean, no one would see that it has shiny. Who cares about that? So, I'm trying to make it a little bit, animated for you guys, because I think that I'm giving you a lot of information. But a person with a 3.5 average who was part of the school life, that ran a club, that volunteered, that was a well-rounded individual will be a much better fit than just a 4.0 student who all they cared about is getting a great grade point average.
I had a question about the 30-60-90 plan actually.
Yes.
I was just wondering, because since this is like straight out of college, it's hard for me to think of things that I could really do in 30, 60, and 90 days.
Okay, that's fine. Google what a 30, 60, 90-day plan is, and you will see that it doesn't really include any tangibles, but it shows a potential employer the following: that you went the extra mile, that you're already envisioning yourself. I'm sure you heard it, fake it till you make it, right? You're already envisioning yourself that you are working for them, and you have a plan day one when you get there, what you're going to be doing in order to make the company feel that they did not lose out by hiring you. You're not going to be sitting there on social media telling your friends it's your first day at Google. Okay? And that is this is a trick that you're going to show your potential employer that the day you get there, you mean business, you're not going to waste their time. And every penny they're paying you in salary is going to be worth it, because not only you come from a brand name NYU school, but you also are an ambitious young professional, and they will not lose out if they hire you. That's what a 30, 60, 90-day plan is telling them. And if you say that in a cover letter, it's going to sound obnoxious. Because remember, you can't brag about what a great person you are. You have to just say that I have these skills, and you let them assume. Here's another tip. Whenever you write a resume, a cover letter, a 30, 60, 90-day plan, never write it for yourself. You write it for the person who's reading the resume. Remember when you wrote your essays? You never write the essay about from your perspective. You always want to make it interesting for the reader. You guys look like you're in shock. Am I that good?
Just processing.
Okay.
No, just processing stuff.
think-
It's really valuable. So
Yeah, I think it's really tough to figure out where to start. Do you mind talking a little bit on that? Because I feel like it can be very overwhelming to start.
Okay, I have a perfect solution for you. And this is fresh off the grill. Not sure if you know this new app. It's an audio learning app called Knowable. I'm going to put it in the chat. If you use the code Michelle, you could use it for free for 3 months. I recorded a course there called see the name?
Mhm.
Okay. The Da Vinci Career Coach is 9 curated lessons. You could literally listen to them while you're in the bathroom, okay? They're 10 to 15 minutes. And it teaches you how to search for a career or a job through the lives of great artists. So literally the first chapter is called What Does Picasso Have to Do with Your Job Search? And I think, Rachel, you're going to love it because you're interested in art. It's stories of artists, their challenges, and how they overcame them. Like, for example, Warhol was a very talented individual, but for everyday people, they don't really care what he did. So he made multi-million-dollar paintings. But what do we learn from him? We learn that we are nothing without a network. And this guy figured it out the minute he came to New York, that he needs to build a powerful network around himself. Otherwise, he's getting nowhere. And that's what he did. And that's why he was successful. And in the chapter that I do on Warhol, it gives little bits and pieces of information about his life, but you remember it forever because art and job search are never in the same conversation. Okay, so listen to this course. It's 9 chapters, and it will open up your mind, and you will remember these things as you continue. I mean, you'll remember 2-3 years from now, because it's so it's so disruptive. That's a good word, disruptive. Like, why did I call it Da Vinci career coach? You know why? Because Leonardo da Vinci had to change his profession. He had 20 professions in his life. He was an architect, he was a scientist, he was an artist, he was a sculptor, he had his own apothecary. The guy had it figured out in 14th century Renaissance. 20 professions. And what do people needed to learn during the pandemic? They need to be agile, and they need to be able to pivot. I mean, this is a course that was done during the pandemic. I started in July, and it was done by, it went live first week of March. And share with friends. I mean, like you said, Nandita, it's very overwhelming, and you kind of are looking for like a medicine that's going to help you figure it out. This could potentially be it. It's only an hour and a half of your time, but you may hear something that is going to snap for you. And you could always reach out to me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm not going to review your resumes, and I'm not going to tell you this is good or this is bad. But I will take a look at your resume, and I will get on the phone with you, and I will walk you through it as to why it's good and why it's not. I'll do like a resume audit for you, but I will not tell you what to write. So any last minute thoughts, questions? Was this helpful? Any things that you are like, you're going to have an allergic reaction to what I just said? Like, challenge me, ask me. I'll stay on 5 more minutes.
No, just want to thank you for your time, and it was really helpful.
Good. I'm glad. Everyone has my email? Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you my email here. I think Tati has my personal email, but it's much better to email me at my work email, because that's where, it gets my attention right away. Follow me on Instagram. There's a lot of everyday stuff. You'll be like, every day you'll have content. And definitely send me a LinkedIn invite. And if there's anybody in my network that you want an intro to, and if I happen to know them personally, God bless. And I'm also new on Clubhouse. So if you guys are on Clubhouse, I'm there. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think everyone here can agree that this was very helpful. And yeah, I've been to a couple of your talks now, and every time you don't disappoint. So it's really great to have you in our circle. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I intend to do more of these. I actually used to do them in person. I used to go to Auto Pizzeria right there off 5th Avenue, and we used to do these in person. I'm looking forward to so much to do them again, because I really love to meet students. But whatever you need, I'm here. I mean, I'm all about giving back to the school. I was a full scholarship student, and they really helped me so much in my life and in my career and in my learning capabilities. I would truly be a different person if I didn't go to NYU. So you guys are very blessed that you're there, and use me for my expertise.
Well, thank you so much. I can stop the recording now.